Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of Earth's orbital defense station, her reflection ghosting against the stars. 20 years of human expansion into the galaxy had taught them caution, but nothing had prepared her for this moment. The quantum comm crackled to life, projecting the image of first speaker Ixel of the Galactic Concordat, a being of crystalline structure whose normal prismatic brilliance now seemed dimmed by exhaustion. Admiral Chen, the alien's harmonics wavered. We require humanity's assistance, despite our previous differences. Chen's jaw tightened. The Concordat had spent years trying to restrict human expansion, claiming our species was too unpredictable, too dangerous. Now they needed those very qualities they had feared. The Void Swarm has breached our outer defenses, Ixel continued. Our most advanced weapons prove useless. 17 systems have gone dark. We estimate 3 months before they reach the core worlds. The tactical displays showed the spread of the infection. Entire star systems consumed by something that defied conventional physics. The Concordat's mighty fleets, with technology centuries ahead of Earth's, had been swept aside like leaves in a hurricane. Why come to us? Chen asked, though she suspected the answer. Because you humans are different. Ixel's crystalline form pulsed with reluctant admission. Your species thinks in ways we cannot, ways we once feared. Now that very trait may be our salvation. Chen studied the tactical data. The Void Swarm moved with perfect efficiency, consuming resources and energy in mathematically precise patterns. Perhaps too precise. Send me everything you have on their movement patterns, she said. And I mean everything. Even data you think irrelevant. You have a theory. Not yet, but humans are good at finding patterns in chaos, and chaos in patterns. Chen's lips curved slightly. Sometimes the best way to fight perfect order is with calculated disorder. Ixel's crystalline form shimmered with what might have been hope. The Concordat grants you full access to our resources, whatever you need. First, Chen's voice hardened. All restrictions on human expansion and technology development are permanently lifted. We're not your attack dogs to be leashed after the crisis passes. Agreed, Ixel said without hesitation. Though some on the council will resist. They can resist all they want, from their evacuated worlds. Chen turned to her staff. Get me the think tank. All of them. Tell them to bring their craziest ideas, the ones they were afraid to show the Concordat. As Ixel's image faded, Chen allowed herself a grim smile. Humanity had been held back, called reckless and dangerous. Now those same qualities might save a civilization that had feared them. The stars seemed to dim as another system went dark on the tactical display. They had 3 months to prove that humanity's greatest strength was its unpredictability. The game was on. And this time, the rules were meant to be broken. The think tank's presentation chamber buzzed with barely contained energy as Earth's brightest minds faced the Concordat Council through quantum projection. Dr. Maya Patel stood before the assembled aliens, her dark eyes bright with the fever of discovery. The Void Swarm isn't chaos, she declared, holographic data swirling around her. It's hyperorder. Perfect mathematical precision in every movement. That's not natural. That's their weakness. The Council's representative, a towering arthropodal being called an Ixithal, chittered in confusion. How is perfection a weakness? Because perfect systems are predictable. Maya grinned. And predictable systems can be disrupted. We've been studying the swarm's consumption patterns. They don't just devour resources, they optimize. Every action maximizes efficiency. Admiral Chen stepped forward. Dr. Patel's team proposes we use that against them. Create deliberate inefficiencies. Force them to adapt. Impossible. Ixithal's mandibles clicked. Their computational power exceeds our greatest systems. They adapt instantly to any strategy. Exactly. Maya's smile widened. They adapt perfectly. So perfectly that we can predict how they'll adapt. And that's where humans come in. We're going to make them chase inefficiency until they break. The holographic display shifted, showing a complex web of planetary systems. Maya highlighted several key points. We'll seed these systems with quantum resonance bombs, deliberately unstable ones. When the swarm tries to consume them, the imperfect resonance will force them to constantly recalculate their consumption patterns. And while they're busy optimizing, Chen continued, we hit them with concentrated electromagnetic pulses calibrated to their adaptation frequency. The more they try to perfect their response, the more vulnerable they become to the next pulse. Angstful's compound eyes reflected the shifting data. The energy requirements would be astronomical. You would need to sacrifice entire systems as bait. Yes, Chen's voice was steel. We know. That's why we're targeting uninhabited systems only. We'll need to evacuate 3 sectors. But it's better than losing everything. The council chambers erupted in multilingual chaos. Maya watched them argue, her expression unchanged. She'd expected this reaction. Humans had learned long ago that sometimes you had to sacrifice pieces to win the game. This is madness, a crystalline being pulsed. You would deliberately create chaos on a stellar scale. No, Maya corrected. We're creating controlled chaos. There's a difference. The swarm operates on perfect efficiency. We're going to give them so many optimization problems that their system will cascade into failure. Admiral Chen stepped forward again. The Concordat feared human unpredictability. Now we're offering to weaponize it. The question is, do you trust us enough to let us save you? The chamber fell silent. The council members communicated in their varied ways. Light pulses, pheromones, electromagnetic signals. Finally, Angstful spoke for them all. We have no choice. Proceed with your plan. But know that if you fail, you doom us all. That's why we won't fail, Chen replied. Because humans have one trait the Void Swarm can never optimize for. We're too stubborn to quit. As the council session ended, Maya turned to Chen. They're still afraid of us. Good, Chen said. Fear of human ingenuity kept them from destroying us before. Now it might just save them. The quantum resonance bombs were already in production. Soon, they would teach the perfect Void Swarm a lesson about the power of imperfection. The galaxy was about to learn why humanity's chaos was its greatest strength. The bridge of the EDS Prometheus hummed with tension as Admiral Chen watched the quantum resonance bombs deploy across the Helios sector. Streams of data cascaded across holographic displays, tracking the Void Swarm's inexorable advance. First wave of bombs in position, Maya reported from her station. Quantum signatures destabilizing on schedule. The swarm's already adjusting course to investigate. Chen nodded, her expression carved from stone. They'd evacuated 3 sectors, leaving behind only automated systems and carefully crafted bait. The largest trap ever set in galactic history. Concordat ships are in position, Lieutenant Rodriguez announced, though they're maintaining their objections to this strategy. Let them object, Chen replied. As long as they follow the plan. The Void Swarm appeared on long-range sensors, a writhing mass of perfectly ordered destruction that defied conventional physics. Their movements were beautiful in their precision, each component responding to changes with mathematical perfection. Swarm entering range of the first resonance field, Maya announced. Impact in 3, 2, 1. The space ahead rippled as quantum instabilities cascaded through the sector. The swarm's perfect formations wavered, individual units struggling to optimize their response to the deliberately chaotic energy patterns. They're adapting, Rodriguez reported. Faster than we predicted. Good, Maya's fingers flew across her console. Initiate second phase destabilization. Let's give them more variables than they can process. New resonance patterns erupted across the sector, each carefully designed to force the swarm into increasingly complex optimization calculations. Their formations fractaled into ever more intricate patterns, seeking perfect efficiency in an environment engineered for chaos. Energy consumption in the swarm is rising exponentially, Maya reported. They're burning resources trying to maintain optimization. Chen leaned forward, launched the EMPs, all frequencies, random distribution. Make them chase perfection until they break. The electromagnetic pulses lashed out across space, their wavelengths shifting unpredictably. Where they struck, portions of the swarm stuttered, their perfect synchronization disrupted by milliseconds that might as well have been eternities to their optimization protocols. It's working. Maya's voice rose with excitement. Their adaptive algorithms are cascading. They can't maintain cohesion across all units while optimizing for so many variables. But victory celebrations died as new data flooded in. The swarm was changing, individual units merging into larger configurations that could process more variables. They were evolving. "This is impossible," one of the Concordat observers transmitted. "They're exceeding theoretical computational limits." "No," Chen's eyes narrowed. "They're desperate, burning through resources to maintain control. Push harder. Maximum chaos. Give them more than they can handle." The Prometheus's engines roared as Chen ordered the fleet to advance. Humanity had planned for this. The swarm's desperate grasp for perfection would be their undoing. "Final phase," Chen commanded. "Release the viral code packets. Let's show them why trying to be perfect is the biggest imperfection of all." The viral code packets tore through space like digital lightning, targeting the swarm's merged configurations. On the Prometheus's bridge, Maya watched the battle unfold with fierce intensity. The code was elegant in its messiness, deliberately imperfect, designed to trigger the swarm's optimization protocols into overdrive. "They're taking the bait," she reported. "Optimization algorithms are attempting to correct the code's inefficiencies. Processing load is reaching critical levels." But the swarm's response shook even humanity's carefully laid plans. Instead of breaking under the strain, they began to fragment, splitting into smaller units to distribute the processing load. The perfect mathematical order of their movements began to show signs of actual adaptation, not just optimization, but evolution. "This isn't possible," the Concordat's scientific advisor transmitted. "They're developing new protocols on the fly. The resource cost alone should be destroying them." Admiral Chen's expression remained unchanged. "They're learning." "Good. That means they can make mistakes." She turned to her tactical officer. "Launch the second wave. All ships, execute pattern Omega." The human fleet moved in what appeared to be complete chaos. Ships breaking formation, executing random maneuvers, creating a web of apparently meaningless movement. But within the chaos was purpose. Each ship's trajectory had been calculated to force the swarm to expend even more resources tracking and predicting their movements. "Admiral," Rodriguez called out, "we're detecting energy buildups in the swarm. Massive ones. They might be preparing tow." The space around them erupted as the swarm launched its counterattack. Beams of pure energy lashed out, cutting through the void with devastating precision. 3 human ships vanished in the onslaught. "Stay on target," Chen ordered, even as the bridge shuddered under a near miss. "They're burning through resources faster than ever. They can't maintain this level of output." Maya's console erupted with new data. "The viral code is working, but not fast enough. They're adapting to it, building immunities. We need something more." Chen watched the battle unfold, her mind racing. The swarm was learning, evolving, becoming something new in its desperate attempt to maintain control. And in that desperation, she saw their chance. "Dr. Patel," she said quietly, "what happens when a perfect system tries to adapt to imperfection?" Maya's eyes widened as she understood. "It either breaks, or it becomes imperfect itself." "Exactly." Chen turned to her crew. "All ships, new orders. Break every pattern. I want complete randomization. No logic, no strategy. Pure chaos." "But Admiral," the Concordat advisor protested, "without coordination, we'll be destroyed." "No," Chen smiled grimly. "We'll be human." The order went out, and the battle descended into true chaos. Human ships moved with no discernible pattern, firing weapons at random intervals, broadcasting conflicting data signals. The swarm's response became increasingly erratic as its optimization protocols tried to predict the unpredictable. And in that moment of pure chaos, humanity's true plan revealed itself. The swarm, in its desperate attempt to adapt, had become what it was never meant to be: imperfect. The cost in ships and lives had been horrific, but they had achieved what the Concordat thought impossible. They had taught perfection the value of chaos. Energy cascaded across the battlefield as the Void Swarm's perfect formations shattered. Their desperate attempts to adapt to human unpredictability had forced them to violate their own core protocols. On the Prometheus's main display, the swarm's once beautiful mathematical patterns had devolved into erratic, desperate movements. Swarm energy signatures are destabilizing across all sectors, Maya reported, her voice tight with focused intensity. Their optimization protocols are trying to execute contradictory commands. They're tearing themselves apart. Admiral Chen watched as the massive alien intelligence that had threatened galactic civilization began to collapse under its own weight. The swarm's attempt to process and counter human unpredictability had forced it to become unpredictable itself, a fatal paradox for a system built on perfect order. All ships, execute final phase, Chen commanded. Target their fractured nodes with remaining resonance charges. Don't give them time to reorganize. The human fleet moved with controlled chaos, each ship acting independently yet somehow part of a greater whole. Energy weapons and quantum charges struck the swarm's weakened formations, where once the attacks would have been instantly adapted to, now they tore through compromised defenses. The Concordat observers watched in stunned silence as humanity's primitive tactics accomplished what their advanced technology could not. The swarm, in trying to counter human chaos, had been forced to embrace chaos itself, and lacked humanity's experience in thriving within it. "Admiral," Rodriguez called out, "we're detecting a cascade failure in the swarm's core networks. They're losing cohesion across all sectors." Maya's hands flew across her console. "The viral code is replicating through their compromised systems. They can't stop it anymore. They've lost the ability to distinguish order from chaos." The vast alien intelligence that had threatened to consume the galaxy was dissolving, its perfect patterns shattering into countless fragments. Some units simply winked out of existence, while others spun off into space, their programming corrupted beyond recovery. In the aftermath, as damage reports flowed in and reconstruction plans began, the Concordat Council convened an emergency session. First Speaker Ixel addressed humanity's representatives with a new respect in their crystalline harmonics. "We feared your species' unpredictability," they admitted. "We saw it as a threat to galactic order. We failed to understand that sometimes chaos is necessary for survival, that perfection can be a weakness." Admiral Chen stood before the council, still wearing her battle-stained uniform. "Humanity never sought to disrupt your order," she said. "We simply understood that true strength comes from adapting to disorder, not trying to eliminate it. The swarm failed because it couldn't accept imperfection. We succeeded because we embrace it." The council chambers hummed with discussion as ages-old policies were rewritten. Humanity's restrictions were not just lifted. They were invited to take a leading role in galactic defense. Their unique perspective, once feared, was now recognized as essential for civilization's survival. As the Prometheus began its journey home, Maya joined Chen at the viewport. "The Concordat's already analyzing our tactics," she said. "They're trying to understand how we knew chaos would work." Chen smiled. "They still don't quite get it, do they? We didn't know. We hoped. We adapted. We survived. That's what humans do." The stars streaked past as the ship entered FTL, carrying humanity's defenders back to Earth. They had proved that imperfection, properly wielded, could overcome even the most perfect enemy. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly how it should be.